What's going on, everybody? There's really nothing to talk about from the morning since up to now. Like, there is literally nothing different than anything this morning. My early builds are exactly the same. I have nothing to change, nothing to add. And we've got some guys like Scott McCarty hey, great job on a second place in the $40 single entry last night. He just posted it in the NBA chat. He's not in the premium, so I'm not. He probably won't do it. He's asking. He said that the first thing off is Okogie good chalk or bad chalk. I'm just going to go out and say that no chalk is good chalk tonight. There's no such thing. This is all terrible. Everybody is a bad play, pretty much. Everybody is being projected. I mean, like a bad play, but it's all slate dependent, right? Like Okogie makes sense on this slate because we don't have other value. Simple as that. It doesn't really. There's nothing you're looking at here that you can just go, oh, okay, I feel really good about this value. There's just none. Absolutely none of it. Personally, I have more Dorian Finney-Smith than I do Okogie, but I do have some of them. All of my core plays, for all of you who look at the site and use the site, I haven't changed a thing. There is nothing to add from what we saw earlier. What we need is starting lineups. What we need is Indiana information. And that's basically the majority of what we need to do. There's literally nothing to talk about that's any different. So fire on in questions. We'll have a good time. Talk about your golf lineups. I had a really good start in most of my golf lineups today. Boy, I really hope my good lineups don't get buried by Johnny Vegas again. And then Streelman, who started off hot, it kind of fell apart. But I have tons of Ben Griffin and a nice day, -2. Obviously, Jaeger is chalk, but I have a ton of them. I have a ton of Fleetwood. I'm over the field on both those guys. I'm over the field on, let me just see. I've got like all of my lineups, I think, are in the top 30 right now in the 88. But I don't know what to talk about with the basketball. This is literally the show me and Sheets did earlier, and nothing has changed. And I appreciate that, MJ. Yeah, let's please hit the like when you come in. Yeah, 2-day losing streak. By the way, this is what I always tell people about DFS. I'll just talk a little bit generally about DFS because this slate sucks. Like, it really sucks. And that's kind of fun. Like, a lot of the slates that suck, I've done well with. So taking a weird stand, there is like almost nobody you could recommend that's like within reason that I would say not to play tonight. Like, anybody who's going to be on the court in any of these games, because there's really no value. You could play a blowout angle with the campaign. I think that makes some sense. The problem is I also like the other Phoenix guys if the game stays close. So it's a little tricky there. I don't really want to play campaign and Chris Paul in the same lineup. That's obviously not an optimal way to play. It's just a tough slate, and everything that makes any sense is a little bit chalky. I'm going to go through the highest owned players and say who I like, and then we'll F around. We'll do whatever until 6:30 Eastern, and then I'll update in the premium channel all up to lock up for each slate. Probably a good thing Scott's not a premium member who finished second last night in the single entry, because I would have never said it made sense to play Dwight Powell with Christian Wood. And it just happened to be one of those nights on last night's slate. It just happened to be one of those nights where it worked out. It didn't make any sense to me, but it works out sometimes. No, of course I have trouble with everyone, Scott. Everybody, I don't like any play I'm making on this slate. I think the ones that I feel most, I'm just going to go through the ownership because this will give you an idea that Okogie near the field, probably a little below at around 35-40% on DraftKings. I have him on FanDuel. It's a lot harder to fade him over there. No, Scott, you're good, buddy. You're good. I'm saying that this is what I was saying. I would have said to do. So in that case, look, it got you there. Yeah, Cole Anthony's totally fine. All gems. How did you end up last night? I know you had a nice little run going. Let us know how you did. Oh, you are a premium member, but you're posted in the regular NBA chat, so it threw me off. So my bad, Scott. Actually, you know what? I've seen you in the regular chat. That's my bad. That's my bad, Scott. Anyway, we want another nice night for Scott and for everybody else here. Hopefully, all gems ended up with a decent score on FanDuel. Unfortunately, that last game, there was a lot of guys getting there. So I hope all gems ended up doing okay. I know he had a nice lineup going on FanDuel for a while. But yeah, so just going through the chalk. But by the way, the Pistons game. I think the Pistons game will stay competitive. I don't think that's like a weird take. Like the Pistons at home should not be a 15-point underdog here. I think they should be like 10. Like Denver's looked bad. The Pistons have been competitive, oddly, at times. And like, what's competitive? If the game's within 20 points, all the starters are playing anyway. So it doesn't really, that's a nice, all gems, what's funny is like, it doesn't feel great because it's not a huge amount of money, but that's a really nice result. Like that's really, really nice. So I'm into that. I'm glad you had a nice night, man. Hopefully we can do a little better tonight. It's just a really ugly slate. The best way I can go through it is just to say over underweight type of stuff. Okogie, slightly underweight. This is DK first. Dinwiddie, overweight. Gary Trent, probably near the field. Cam Johnson, probably near the field. Pascal Siakam, below the field. Dorian Finney-Smith, above the field. Torrey Craig, above the field, but it feels gross. Hoping that I get some news later that I can adjust some things. Nick Claxton, above the field. Scotty Barnes, currently below the field, but I like the play, so I might get some of that. Jamal Murray, near the field, basically in the 20-ish% range, maybe a little bit higher, so maybe a little bit above. Harrison Barnes, below the field. Chris Paul, above the field. Seth Curry, below the field currently, but I'm open to changing it. I just don't feel great about a lot of these things, and I want to get Brooklyn and Sacramento exposure. DeAndre Ayton, above the field. Bruce Brown, below the field. Actually, Bruce Brown, I probably will end up a little bit above the field on. I kind of like the Bruce Brown play a little bit. The problem is we might get news in that Indy game that might open up some value. So you're kind of weird to use value early in the day. It's just something that bothered me a little bit. Omoruyi, above the field. Malik Monk, actually above the field on Malik Monk too. Below the field, Isaiah Joe. Above the field, Aaron Gordon. Below the field, Giannis. Above the field, Wendell Carter. Above the field, Cole Anthony. Above the field, Podol. Below the field, Wagner. Above the field, Lyles. Above the field, Booker. Below the field, Van Vliet. Below the field, Jokic. Those are basically all the double-digit guys. Oh, wait, there's a couple more. Michael Porter Jr. above the field. Royce O'Neal, sadly below the field. KCP below the field. Banchero above the field. That's where I'm at. That's interesting. I actually, I like the point that Brandon Cruz is bringing up here because so we have a guy who we know he's been starting at center against a team that plays a true big. Now, does it really matter? I don't know, but I think it's actually a really good call by you. I think it's a really good idea to try out the Jalen Williams. If there was a night to do it, this is the night to do it. The minutes have not been steady, have not been secure. The production ranges from 5 fantasy points to 30. But I think that's the kind of play you're going to have to make today if you want to spend up. So that's what I have no problem with with that at all. So I'm in on that for what it's worth. I don't know what that. So there we go. Let's see. Seems like a lot of Jesus. Whoa, what's going on here? Okay, Steph Can't Curry. There's just a lot of comments here going on. I can't keep track of all of it. So I'm just going to skip over Steph Can't Curry right now because it's too much stuff. I'll get back to it afterwards. Last second switch to Cleveland. Yeah, I told you. Yeah, man, I didn't like that. And unfortunately, had you gone the other way, you probably at least cashed there. Do I think Booker? There's not an overpriced thing. That's not a thing tonight. We don't look at it like that. There's no such thing. And Booker is not. To answer the question, no, I don't think Booker is overpriced. I don't know what that means on this kind of a slate because we need raw points somewhere. Booker's production has been basically just as good as just a tiny bit behind Sabonis through March. They're almost the same. And yeah, the last 2 games, Booker only had 41. I'm not worried about that. He put up 50, 57, 16, 57, and 60 the 5 games before that. So Booker's fine. But I don't think this is like an overpriced. I don't think you should say good play, bad play, overpriced. It's how are we going to make a lineup that can win? Because these are all ugly plays. Like, do I want to play Devin Booker at 10K? Not exactly, but I think he's right there with Sabonis as being viable. But that's just where we're at today on this slate. There's just no play that I actually feel all that great about. So what I'm doing is stacking up Sacramento, Brooklyn, and hoping it stays close. I'm using either Fox or Sabonis. Fox on DK, Sabonis on FanDuel. I'm using Dinwiddie, Bridges, and Nick Claxton. I'm using Trey Lyles as my value play because he was suspended yesterday, and I'm just hoping maybe some people forget. I think all of the other Kings are a little more suspect because of Trey Lyles because he's been playing pretty solid minutes since he's been there, and it's a back-to-back. So you imagine they limit some of the other guys possibly. So that's what I'm doing. I'm stacking up that game. I know it's not crazy different or anything, but it's my favorite thing to do on this slate. It's my favorite game to stack. I think that I did post my bets. I really am surprised that Toronto's not favored by more against OKC at home. I think OKC, I think Toronto's going to win that game pretty handily. I think they'll win by double digits in the end. Might take a little while for it to happen, but that's where I'm at. So that's sort of like that's what I think you have to do is pick a spot that you like and go for it. I also think the Pistons are maybe getting a little bit overlooked. They're not none of them are comfortable prices, but they only have 10 players. Like I could make an argument for all of their guys, and maybe one of the guys who's not getting talked about. Are people noticing that Corey Joseph is just putting up basically I don't know, 25 to 30 every night? He's 4,900. I think that's something we could do. I like the Jalen Williams idea from Brandon Cruz. Those are some different differentiator chalk guys that are not going to be overly popular tonight. But Corey Joseph, Jalen Williams, and other different price ranges. But that's what I'm doing. Sheets is not going to be here every day. He might be here later, but I don't know where he is right now. I thought he said he'd be here a little late today. I didn't realize it would be this late, but yeah, that's where we're at. Let's see. I like Podol instead of Pascal too, MJ. That's what I'm doing. I'm going to be nervous a little bit. There's going to be a game where where Siakam puts up 60, but if you're playing him at high ownership right now, I just think it's the wrong way to play. His usage is literally it's below. Is it below Podol's now? I mean, it's pretty wildly low. No, it's above Podol still, but it's still pretty low. The rebound upside is mostly gone for him. I much prefer Van Vliet to Siakam, by the way. Monk is a hit or miss. Absolutely. Nothing you can say about that. I actually kind of like the Duran call by Swish. I think that's a really, really cool play, actually. I think that's another one you could get a little bit off the things. And he's very productive per minute, as we know. He'll get to play some minutes with horrible backups, so that's good. And you never know about the foul trouble, which could end up forcing him on the court. So I kind of like the Duran. I'm going to put him in the get different cheapos. Duran, Corey Joseph, Jalen Williams is my get different cheapos right now. Mostly I'm playing I'm getting different at the higher end, not at the lower end. I do play single entries to answer Swish's question, but I don't follow up Swish with whatever the reasoning for the question is. But I'm happy to answer it because I definitely play single entries. I don't make sure I have a certain amount every night. I happen to hate this slate, which means it's sort of I'm sort of spreading out a few small buy-in stuff and then just playing one big lineup on each site. But I'm not really playing heavy volume. I think this is a really nasty slate. And the last times I say that, I always end up winning. So I don't know what the hell's going on with that. And by the way, last time was with when I won the one 2 weeks ago today. I posted the actual lineup in my early builds, and it was the first lineup I made, and I never changed it. This feels like that kind of a day. So maybe take that for what you will. Damian Lee, I said there was nobody I would say I think is a bad play tonight. I think Damian Lee is an awful play. I don't even know where the Damian Lee idea comes from, but maybe in a blowout, there's a path. I don't know. It's weird to play a guy who was a DNP CD. So the coach didn't even play him. His minutes are 17-3, 16-5. There's no way I'm playing Damian Lee in any lineup. Damian Lee legitimately may not play a single minute tonight. He also may play 15 and get hot. There's no such Terrence Ross revenge. There's no revenge. There's nothing there. I mean, you're just reaching for stuff especially if you're doing from the same. I guess Terrence Ross I'd be much more okay with than I would be Damian Lee. But even still, I don't feel good about any of that garbage. I do think Terrence Ross is a little more in play than Damian Lee for sure. But Damian Lee, I wouldn't be surprised at all. Right now, I've got him projected to play 9 minutes. So I'm not playing anybody who plays 9 minutes, even on this kind of trashy slate, unless it was Boban, because we never know what they let him play 12 or 16. He's going to have 30. Gary Harris is another ugly one that's value. The guy plays the minutes, enough minutes. He's starting. He's 3,500. These are ugly plays. So, yeah, is it smart stacking a game on this kind of a slate? Yes, I would say it's smart to stack a game. All right, what else have we got in here, guys? Keep firing on them on in. Yeah, I'm happy to answer and go through anything. Fire questions because I don't have a whole lot to talk about today, and doing the show alone is leaving me with even less. So I just feel like I'd love some idea. I don't understand the questions or drafting different, but yes, stacking makes sense tonight. But stacking is is like what you have to. Yeah, there's tons of injury news, but we don't know what it is yet. The main thing we know is Indiana. Does anybody else have a question or about any of the plays tonight? Of who they like, who they don't. Indiana is the only team it's really hard to assess because they've got five legit questionables, including Halliburton. So the longer you can delay, the better. But the problem is there's not like it doesn't like if Halliburton plays, you're not getting. Even if the other guys sit, you're not necessarily getting like a smash play out of these guys. Jalen Smith, right now, I've got you realize if Miles Turner's out, right? Everybody should take a look. Okay, so the reason we played out Jalen Smith and Isaiah Jackson was because Miles Turner was out. It would be really weird to play a third string center who's going to play like 12 minutes. So. Yeah, of course. If Turner's out, I'll have some Jalen Smith. But no, I have no interest in Jalen Smith. Was there news here? Would I play Portis if Lopez sits? That's a good question. Yeah, I would play some. I don't think it's like you have to play him or anything. But I prefer Portis when Giannis sits. I don't think it's like Portis is automatically going to crush or anything. I don't think it's like a great play, but yeah, I think he's a good play. Is there any news? Well, Scott, let me know what you're seeing because I haven't seen anything, and I'm here with you guys. I'm looking at my update apps. I've seen no news. So let me know what you do have, because the truth is that the real news is that if Indy just like sits like four of their guys, or even just Halliburton or Turner. You got a lot of plays you could make then, but even still, like they priced up Nembhard to $6K. McConnell is supposed to be back. McConnell would be the guy I would go with, I guess, but like, is Lopez out? Pat Connaughton. Let's wait for things to update a little bit before I answer the question. I didn't get the Lopez out news yet. I actually still have him as in, but I think they haven't updated yet. So I do think Bobby Portis. I want to wait for projections to update a little bit. Pat Connaughton is a great example of a guy who I'm totally fine with using on this slate. Normally, I would say no, but on this particular slate, I would say I'm totally okay with it. And Crowder's out. Okay, that's helpful too. Javon Carter and Connaughton are both two guys I would get in the mix then. And also it gives you some value later in the day. So Carter, Connaughton, and we go from there. I appreciate that, MJ. So yeah, let me update, but I do think that Ingles, Connaughton, and Carter are more in play now. It doesn't do anything for the studs at all. They all are in a great matchup and can go off, but it really doesn't do anything for me with the studs. I am curious what Indiana does because this game is already going to play fast. If Indiana can keep this game close, could be interesting. Let's see what it's going to take a while for the projections to update. They're not going to be able to do it that fast, but I do think Javon Carter is going to look like a really good play all of a sudden, or like on this slate, a very good play. Bridges for me to answer Swish's question. Premium guys, get in here. Guys who are members of site members, pop in the questions, pop in some thoughts. We want to hear from you. We want to talk through this stuff. I think Carter and Connaughton are both completely viable values. I probably wouldn't play them together, but I think it's actually such a weird slate that I don't really have an issue with it either. But I think I'm going to try to avoid it. I think Carter is probably going to be a better projecting play than Craig. So I can probably switch over some of my ownership there. And I think Connaughton, you get the multi-position too, who can also play, guard or forward. So I think he's gonna bump up in projections a little bit as well, as is Bobby Portis. But I'm not trying to play Middleton. I don't see any reason to play Middleton tonight. Like it's just a play. But I mean, like it's not wrong. Like if he gets really hot, like whatever. Every time you take Giannis, he gets in foul trouble. Is that possible? I don't remember. Yeah, I don't think Giannis has been limited like one time this season because of foul trouble. So I don't know what exactly that means. There's no game he's played like less minutes because of foul trouble, like that I can think of. I'm just gonna take a quick look and see if that's right. But Giannis has not had, he had 5 fouls in the one game against Philly, but he still played 35 minutes. So it didn't affect you at all there. 4 fouls against Brooklyn. Other than that, he hasn't been in foul trouble. Oh, no. Yeah, 4 fouls, 5 fouls in that one game. He hasn't really had foul trouble like basically the whole season. He never really gets in foul trouble. So I'm kind of surprised to see that. I don't see one game where he was limited by foul trouble. So I don't know how that's possible. Even if he gets 2 fouls, they just leave it. They have the same. I don't know if people understand Giannis's rotation. He comes out earlier, then he comes back at the end of the quarter. There's no games though. He wasn't limited in any of those games. Like all of his minutes in all the games where he had foul trouble were as high as they ever are. 35, 36, 34. Yeah. So don't know where that one is, but keep popping questions or thoughts for tonight, guys. Like I'm not trying, like, I think in my opinion, trying to spend all the way up tonight is a very flawed strategy just because we don't have the value that supports it. So I'm not playing Giannis. I am not playing, who else do we have to talk about spend ups? I basically, let's see what else we got. Did Arizona lose, by the way? Did Arizona really lose? I'm not playing Ivy as of right now, no. To answer Swish's questions. Let's see. I'm still trying to get this updated Bucks thing. I think that's really all we have left to like look out for. Arizona lost. Such an Arizona move. They go down to a 15 seed. That's crazy. Oh, you know what? Serves you right. It's about time. Like you can't just they do this. They always make the Final Four or they lose in the first round. It's like the weirdest team. I don't know why they always do that. I didn't have much Arizona. I don't think I had any Arizona Final Fours. I think I might have snuck in one of like my few entries or something. Might have had them like the Final 8 or something. But I'm actually kind of happy about that. Good for Princeton. Those kids, those hardworking kids. I mean, they have improved the rules in college basketball, so there shouldn't be as many crazy upsets like this, but they still happen just as often, if not more often. Like back when they had no shot clock, that was like the dumbest thing ever. At least now they're playing with more international style rules, like the 30-second clock and whatnot. So I am playing Sabonis in a good portion of my lineups. I'm stacking Brooklyn, Sacramento hard. That's my take right now. I'm going to now use what I think is going to look like okay-ish value. Ugh. I mean, the value is just gross. But if it's gross, shouldn't I be playing it in the game that I'm stacking? So that's why I'm currently playing the Lyles and the Dorian Finney-Smith, just because it's in the game I'm already stacking. And both those guys are going to play their 20-plus minutes, especially Finney-Smith might play 38 minutes. They don't take away too much from my other guys. So I have like Fox as my guy on DraftKings, Sabonis as my guy on FanDuel. That's sort of the way I'm going. I play everything, Swish. Well, I don't play everything. I play baseball, basketball, football, golf. Those are my big things. Actually, I'm excited. I thought we were going to have some golf talk on today. You know, I thought we gave out some pretty good stuff for the beginning. I mean, it's a long ways to go, but there's some good stuff. I think I've got two. I played 3 lineups in the 88, and I've got 2 are in the top 20 and 1 in 87th. Everybody under par in one of them. Merritt just went to 1 over, so I guess not everybody. But you have the Jaeger, the Kazire. I ended up with only 10% of Kazire. I usually play so much of this guy in these kind of tournaments, and I only ended up with 10% of him, and he looks great. But yes, I definitely do play NFL. And I don't really have much more to add about the questions. I'm going to take a quick look and see if I can get you guys some updated projection help from Milwaukee. Awesome, all gems. Yeah, Fleetwood is my highest owned player for the second week in a row. By the way, and everybody says, well, Fleetwood ended up he's only -5. He ended up like in 28th place or whatever last week. He was the 5th highest scoring golfer on the board. Like, he was the best point per dollar play on the slate last week. And Fleetwood is he's just my guy. I always ride with him. The big wins are going to come. And even if they're not wins, like the guy that maybe this week he might need to win or you want him to win. But like in general, like he just makes runs, especially on tough courses. I'm trying to see Milwaukee. Yeah. So now it's looking like Connaughton. The weird thing is Carter's projection dropped. Did they announce a starting lineup yet? No, that's interesting. I'm kind of surprised. Like, it's kind of weird. Javon Carter's projection dropped and Connaughton's went up with the last piece of news, that's weird. I'm going to play one of those guys probably in a decent chunk of my lineups. I think right now I'm siding a little bit with Connaughton because of position eligibility. But honestly, I don't think it's like none of these guys are automatic. But I do think Connaughton is probably my favorite way to go. I think that Ingles might be sneakier. Like, I think Connaughton will get some ownership. I think Javon Carter, if he starts, will get some ownership. I don't think anyone's going to play Ingles. I think he's kind of like just an interesting way to go different. Let's see, Scott's question. That's like a really good question. In your build, am I leaning towards late game so that you have space to allow value to show up? Or I do want to do that, but I don't know how to because there's no like pivots. You know what I mean? There's no like things. There's no like placeholders that I can do. In Indiana, they've got so many guys questionable. We don't even know which positions you want to hold. Halliburton, Hield, Turner, McConnell, all questionable. That's going to be rough. Like, I don't know how to deal with that. It does look like McConnell, who just got announced out for them, because it looks like I'm missing some piece of news. Who got announced out? I don't even know. I'm trying to keep track. Do you guys have so Scott, ideally I would like to do that, but there's not really late games. There's one late game, and then you've got the 1 8 Eastern game. So you don't really have other choices. So it's not like if you stack up Orlando and Phoenix, you can just switch it over to Indiana and Milwaukee. I guess you could, but you'd end up leaving thousands on the table. And this is the wrong slate. Appreciate that, Scott. Murray officially available. I'm a little lower on Murray, I think, than most people are, but I have some of them right now, but I'm probably gonna change that up a little bit. But yeah, just to give you guys a hint at projections, the guys who are showing up on SaberSim are Finney-Smith, Dinwiddie, Connaughton, Torrey Craig, Jamal Murray, Claxton. Anyway, guys, I hope good luck to everyone tonight. Sorry it's not a more exciting show. This is a really lousy slate, and it's not a coincidence. They put lousy slates out there when we have the NCAA tournament to go to watch. So that's what's happening. But I'll be in the premium Discord all night. We'll be talking hoops. We'll be going through it, and hopefully we'll make some serious money. Hopefully Scott can improve on his second place finish last night, and hopefully I can improve on my 300 or 238th place or whatever the hell just bubbled the big one. Anyway, good luck to you all. I appreciate everybody. Please like before you get out of here, and we'll see you at the top of leaderboards.